You're listening to Sip and Grow the podcast, the show where we taste awesome, delicious wines while having unfiltered conversations about our passions, experiences, struggles, entrepreneurship, and life. My name is Nicole Di Pasquale, and I'm a wine enthusiast just trying to pursue her passions and dreams while taking you on the journey with me, one episode at a time. My ultimate goal is to not only bring you wine knowledge and value, but also inspire you to enjoy your process and journey in pursuing your passions and dreams. Because guess what? The person you become while enduring the process is more important. So sit back, grab a glass, and let's sip and grow together. Welcome back to another episode of Sip and Grow the podcast with me, your host, Nicole Di Pasquale. Today I have a special treat for you guys. Today I have brought onto the podcast a Chilean wine. This is the first time we review a Chilean wine on the podcast. And I personally, I haven't drank a lot of Chilean wines, but I figured I'd bring this specific one on here because it's part of a really big wine group that is very well known worldwide. This wine brand is called Concha y Toro, and they're a huge company. They have different labels under their brand or whatever. So they have umbrellas under the Concha y Toro brand because this brand was created in 1883. And it was basically created by this attorney, businessman, who just really got into the whole wine scene and was like, let me, build my own wine brand because why not? And he did. And honestly, it's one of the leading wine brands in Latin America. One of the most popular labels that they have under them is called Casillero del Diablo, which if you look it up, very, very well known wine label, which I'll put it right here so you guys can see what label I'm talking about. But that label that they created was basically, they created it in the 1960s, and it put them on another level because that wine just became super popular. And they even formed an alliance with the soccer club in England called Manchester United. So the whole background behind that specific label was that Casillero del Diablo, Diablo in Spanish is devil, and they were just saying the best wines are hidden in the devil's locker room or whatever. So that's what that translates to essentially. And basically the team, when they formed the alliance with Manchester United, it's just so fitting because Manchester United, their nickname is the Red Devils. And I feel like once they formed that alliance with them, it really it expanded and globalized the label or the brand, and put Chilean wines in general on the map worldwide. Because to this day, this overall brand, Concha y Toro, they are basically one of the, I think it's they're the second largest worldwide, but they're the number one largest wine growing companies in Latin America. So they're very, very important. If you don't know about them, today you're gonna learn about them. So I specifically got one of their one of their other labels called Gran Reserva Malbec. It's a 2021 vintage, and this one specifically, I liked, the label kind of intrigued me because I saw that it was vegan and that they practice they have sustainable practices when it comes to farming the land for this specific one. They have certifications on the back. So I found that interesting. This is actually in a small town called Marchigue, which is in so it's 160, the vineyard this one's from is 160 kilometers from Santiago, Chile, which Santiago, Chile is literally in the center of Chile. What's really nice is that where this vineyard is located is in an area where they kind of get some of the coastal breeze coming through because it's close to a particular river. And basically, the vibes there are like Mediterranean vibes. So you have really, really good climate to grow and good grapes and like make basically help the grapes thrive in that environment. And I know that this specific area is known for growing like, or for, they're known for having really good Cabernet Sauvignons, Camenere and Syrahs. But I specifically got a Malbec because I was just intrigued and I was like, you know what? Let's try a Malbec from Chile because why not? But I will say, like, this brand is like OG, one of the best brands you can get wine from in Chile. Not saying that there aren't other great wines from Chile. I just personally haven't really tried a lot of Chilean wines. So this will be new and exciting, and we're doing it together. We love that. We love doing that. Also, you know me and my Malbecs. I love the grape Malbec, so I will be judging this hardcore. But I did want to update you guys on this past weekend. I had posted about a public speaking seminar that I was gonna do the 22nd of December, which, there's an airplane passing by, which was this past weekend. And it was honestly an amazing experience, very eye-opening and very difficult all at the same time. Just because public speaking is uncomfortable, and then public speaking in the way I grew up, like I learned Spanish, that was my first language. But then when I was 3 and started going to school, that's where I learned English. But I was born and raised in the United States, so like, yes, technically Spanish was my first language, but ultimately I use English on the day-to-day unless I'm talking with my family or friends that are only Spanish speakers, right? I do use Spanish on the daily. It's just my brain thinks in like bilingual brain, which all my bilinguals out there will understand what that means. I mainly think in English, and then I can switch it to Spanish. It's just my brain is constantly going in and out all the time. And this is not an excuse, because actually this seminar or this workshop that I had the pleasure of doing with my friend Cynthia also attended as well, and she understands the struggle as well. It was very interesting because our teacher, he was like, you guys are using the whole like I think in English thing as an excuse, because at the end of the day, you know the information. He's like, I bet you if you were to do this in English, you would mess up just the same. And I was like, he's not wrong. He is not wrong. But that guy was so knowledgeable, and he gave us a lot of gold nuggets when it comes to like public speaking. And it was funny because one of the things he said was like, you know, I consider myself a lucky person, but I don't believe in luck, which I found was super interesting, because I have another friend of mine who I've heard say that before, and I was like, interesting. And then what came to my mind and what I said to him, I was like, well, I understand that statement because like the famous Roman philosopher Seneca said, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I'm like huge on that. And he was like, yeah, exactly. And like we just got into like conversation about it, and it was just interesting because we got into like a tangent about how, like, you know, he was just encouraging us basically to like understand that like this is not gonna happen overnight of us being like a huge, like amazing public speaker, but anyone can do it, because at the end of the day, he's like, you're doing what, you know, you're being a part of the 5% because you're here right now, preparing yourself to be able to do this, right? And like he's like, everyone starts somewhere, but at the end of the day, everyone, it's up to everyone to want to do, to want to succeed, or to want to be the best, or to be the best in whatever career or whatever thing that you're doing, right? And he's like, at the end of the day, you're already the expert in your career path or in what you're trying to build or create. But you are your worst enemy, and that's what it comes down to. Like in public speaking, there's two big things that you have to overcome, right? Like you have to overcome stage fright, and it happens to everybody in different ways. It manifests, but it does happen for everybody. And that workshop kind of exposed that in a way, because I was like going in there like, obviously, like I didn't think I was going to be the best public speaker, but I had a public speaking class 10 years ago in college, and I aced that class, and I was like, yeah, like this is going to be fine, whatever. But of course, there's always room to learn and to grow and to get better. And I hadn't done public speaking in a very long time. And I feel like podcasting is different, but like this is also very helpful for when I start to podcast with an audience. Like that workshop is going to help me tremendously when it comes to that. But it was so funny because like that workshop exposed all my, like how much I actually really need to work on my public speaking. But it was so interesting because he was nothing but encouraging, and he was like, listen, like this is where you make the mistakes. This is where you get rid of that stage fright, or, you know, whatever it is that's like holding you back, because ultimately you are your worst enemy. And like we just went into like a bunch of different practicing exercises and how to like read to an audience and how to speak to an audience. But ultimately, we all know the information we're trying to portray or to give to the audience, but it's like we get in our own way from like giving that information out based off of experiences, or how we, you know, how we think and operate, or there's a bunch of things that affect us. But he was like, you guys are here taking the first step, and he's like, everything is a step forward, and you just keep going forward. And it's like when you ride a bike, when you learn how to ride a bike, you fall and then you get back up, and then you do it again, and you fall and you get back up, and then you do it again until eventually you're riding a bike. And then all of a sudden you're riding the bike, and like you're like, oh, let me try to do this trick. And like it's like everything takes time, everything takes practice, everything takes preparation. But when you prepare to do something big or something great, when that moment or that opportunity comes, you're gonna kill it, you're gonna knock it off the park. And then that's when people are gonna be like, who is this person? Like, she was an overnight success because one day she was like doing nothing, and now all of a sudden has her own TV show. Like, that she's so lucky. She's so lucky because how did she get there? What did she do? And like what a lot of people don't realize is that behind excuse me, behind the scenes part of it, where you're taking a step every day in the right direction, preparing yourself for that big moment, so that when that big moment comes, you knock it out of the park, and then that's where the success comes. But it's not like you didn't do all the work beforehand to get to that point, because no one is an overnight success. Everyone starts somewhere, and everyone takes the steps necessary to get to where they are. No one is ever handed anything. Like, yes, of course, there's some situations where like certain factors, may get someone somewhere a little bit faster, but it's guaranteed no one can like stay at those high levels unless they prepared themselves to stay at those high levels, because everything is, practice, and everything is preparation. And one of the biggest takeaways I got from this workshop is that I need to read a lot more than I'm reading right now, because the way that this guy spoke, obviously he's the expert in public speaking, but he used anything and everything to kind of like bring together the message he was trying to portray to the audience so like eloquently and beautifully, right? And he made me realize that like it doesn't even matter if like the importance of reading different things, because you can ultimately use like philosophies from Seneca, or like a story that you heard one time about, I don't know, the king in the 1800s, like so many things to tie in to the point that you're trying to give the audience, or to what you're trying to show the audience or persuade the audience to hear and listen to. So I am so grateful that I was able to have that experience, and I know that this is just the beginning for me to kind of continue down that path of like learning how to speak better and in front of big crowds. And it was so much fun. So I will definitely let you guys know the next time that there's a workshop like that, because there will be more in 2025. And I think it would be really cool for any of you guys interested to come out and join. And for sure, like I'll be bringing wine for us to kind of just, you know, relax after the fact that of an 8-hour workshop where our brain was just, you know, thrown a bunch of knowledge and practices. So we can like chill and hang out after the class. But anyways, let's go to the important part. Let's try this Malbec from Chile, because we need to see if it is what it is, you know what I mean? If it lives up to its expectations. Immediately, I love the color. It's giving me ruby red through and through, which is typically what like a Malbec looks like, right? Let's go ahead and smell it. Very big on like the red fruit notes. It's giving like cherry, plum, and I'm even getting notes of like little notes of hibiscus in there too. Let's go ahead and try it. So confirmation on the red fruit notes, the cherries coming through. I'm even getting cranberries as well. Even a little bit of black currant is coming through as well. I like that it's like silky on your tongue and just goes down very smoothly. I think it's honestly a solid Malbec. It's a 2021 vintage, so it's fairly young. I mean, Malbecs usually they tend to, like a good age range for them would be like 5 years. So when you buy a Malbec, the most I would go without drinking that Malbec would be 5 years, and at the 5 year mark, I would say like go ahead and drink it. So like this is a 2021. I would say the last year where you can drink this one would probably be 2026, because it might age nicely that year and taste even better than it does right now. But overall, I think it's a solid Malbec. If you like a young, smooth, medium-bodied Malbec with big red fruit notes coming through, I would definitely recommend getting this one. This one cost me, I believe, $25. I couldn't find the receipt, and I didn't really find an online alternative for it, but I got it at the famous Milano's in Tamarack, Florida. But I will try to see if I can find it online for you guys so I can link it. But I believe it cost me $25. I remember it being in the $20 range. My rating for this wine would probably be I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. So we're going to say that it's an 8.8 out of 10. An 8.8 out of 10. I got to give it to them. It's a solid Malbec. Yeah, we're going to stay with 8.8. If you guys ever get to try this wine, please let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you like it. Anyways, I hope you have a great afternoon, night, whenever you're listening to this. And I hope you get to try it. And if you do, let me know what you think. I will see you all on the next episode. And cheers. Drink your wine tonight.